Follow Steve White, Trek Boy 89 for Steve Arts 89, Star Trek's alleged gatekeeper. Okay, so let's talk about the Xenogorn, or the Gornomorph, whatever we're calling them. We can't call them the Gorn, though, because they are not the Gorn. What's surprising me is the actual writer of the episode is talking about this. I thought he would avoid the whole issue. I would, if I'd done something like that. And I was surprised to see the boys at Trek Yards actually talking about the new Gorn species, the Xenogorn, or the Gornomorph, as people are calling it, because it's a total rip-off of the Xenomorph from Alien, and resembles in no way the Gorn from the original series, or Enterprise, or even Lower Decks, which had them basically appearing the same as in the original series and that. So the Strange New Worlds one even breaks New Trek canon, which makes no sense. I'm like, does animated Star Trek in the future not count as canon? I mean, how their own consistency within their own universe is baffling. You can sort of understand them disregarding on some level the old Star Trek because they don't respect it, they don't like it, they don't want to have anything to do with it, they want to create their own Star Trek that they think is better than the original. That's kind of understand that attitude, even though it's wrong, you can understand it, but to break canon within their own universe is just really bizarre. Okay, so he did a couple of interviews, and I'm going to read out the one from Trek Movie, but these quotes have appeared in other places. It said, Strange New Worlds co-executive producer Davy Perez, who wrote All Those Who Wander, gave an interview to Inverse where he talked about how there's wiggle room, really, to explain some of the differences between the TOS Gorn and the Strange New Worlds Gorn, and even covered Kirk's apparent lack of knowledge of the species in the original Star Trek episode Arena, which introduced them. Perez explained, Kirk's idea of the Gorn is different from what he's being told by the Metrons. The Gorn he's meeting in Arena doesn't sync with the expectations of them. It was a personal choice I made in my own headcanon. Thank you for acknowledging it was a personal choice you made in your own headcanon. That explained to me, that allowed me to have fun with the writing, viewing it in a way that creates more possibilities for Gorn stories to continue. In Arena, a super powerful race named the Metrons transports Captain Kirk and the Gorn to a planet where they expected to fight to the death. Perez's headcanon relies heavily on the single line of Kirk's dialogue from the original episode, I faced the creature the Metrons called a Gorn. Perez sees this as an opening. Maybe Kirk has never seen them, or maybe even be one of those people who still doubts the stories, or maybe even he has seen them and they don't look the same. I think the safest thing to say is we have no idea what the Gorn really look like. I'm like, wow, the mental gymnastics he had to do to create that episode is interesting, because often I will see things done in Discovery or Picard or Strange New Worlds that don't make sense and don't, clash with Star Trek canon and don't make sense at all. And I'm like, how did they write that? How in their head did they make that work and make that okay? And here's one of the explanations for how they did it, and it's kind of fascinating in its wrongness. He pulled those couple of lines and read into them, oh, Kirk hasn't seen a Gorn, or this Gorn looks nothing like the Gorn he's used to. So we can create a whole different Gorn and just say, oh, it's different Gorns. No, that's not what was happening in the episode. They'd never seen the Gorn before. That's why Spock and Uhura don't know what they are, because they've never seen them before. So, and it says, of course, Perez didn't address why neither Spock nor Uhura mentioned their previous experience with the Gorn during Arena, but it's possible he has some head canon for that as well. His comments also indicate that there could be more Gorn to come in Strange New Worlds. Well, of course, because that's what they think are cool aliens. These are people who grew up watching like Alien and Aliens, and this is their idea of what an alien is. So of course they're going to do that instead of using the real Gorn. And what I don't understand, and this never makes any sense to me, is if you've got a beloved established character or alien species, just leave it alone. If you don't like it, you think it's lame or cringe, or you're embarrassed by it, and you're writing a show that's supposed to use them, you don't want to be embarrassed, so you have to totally change it and create your own headcanon to explain why it's totally different, then but maybe do something else. Create a new species that doesn't have anything to do with the Gorn. Have as much fun with it as you like, and people will go along with it because you're not contradicting anything they're familiar with. You're not insulting anything they care about. You're not destroying anything they love. But that's what they keep doing, and that's where Strange New Worlds has missed the mark. It's got the tone right, it's got the characters right, it's got the episodic storytelling right, but it doesn't have the actual stories and the respect for canon that it needs. And the safest thing to do is just avoid it. Don't do an episode of the Gorn. create a new species. But apparently these people don't either have the talent or the confidence to create new species and new aliens and new, you know, big bads. Instead, they pull up the old ones and then change them to the fact they're unrecognizable, where you could have just created a new species. It just makes no sense to me why you would destroy something established just to create something totally different when you could have just done something different in the first place, which no one would have a problem with. It's just so counterproductive and counterintuitive, and I just can't. So yeah, I'm glad to see though that some people like Trek Yards were talking about the Xenogorn and the Gornomorph, and acknowledging that they are totally not working with canon, not even their own canon in Lower Decks. So apparently, how can I kind of can get disregarding old canon because you don't respect it and you don't care about it, you don't grow up with it, but your own canon from modern day New Trek, it makes no sense, and it makes it difficult for people who expect sense to watch the show. And I'm not going over 6 minutes, so I'm going to redo this video again. I'll say feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe anyway, because I might use it. I don't know.